In 2034, life in Japan had taken a bleak turn for dreamers. Achieving success seemed unattainable without sacrificing everything else: work, sports, and hobbies. Enter our protagonist, known as Seven in the online fantasy game Mobius. He's an unmatched champion, undefeated throughout his gaming journey. His status in the game is so elevated that he's practically seen as a deity. However, after years of dedication and effort to become a legend, fate deals a cruel blow. His character, Seven, has been hacked and erased, wiping out all his progress and backups. Shockingly, this isn't an isolated incident. Over 3,000 top-tier players on the Maion platform suffered the same fate. Following a thorough investigation, the culprit is finally apprehended, revealing a surprising twist. The perpetrator turns out to be one of the high-ranking players within the game, driven by jealousy to hack and delete the profiles of others, including our heroes, as an act of revenge or envy. In a stunning turn of events, our hero contemplates their potential role in provoking the culprit's actions, only to discover that the true antagonist is Mobius itself. The game's inability to restore the deleted characters and the trivial compensations offered, such as insignificant discounts for creating new characters, amplify the distress of the affected players. Frustrated and enraged, our protagonist vents their anger towards their possessions, feeling utterly hopeless about reclaiming their former status. Attempts by the victims to confront Mobion's office or take action against the company yield no fruitful results. Feeling trapped in a seemingly irreversible situation and unable to regain their standing, our hero becomes despondent. However, their response to this dire circumstance takes an unexpected turn. Choosing to end their existence, our hero doesn't transition to an afterlife but instead finds themselves transported to a fantastical realm resembling the gameplay of Maion Online. They arrive in the kingdom of Castal, the game's royal capital, inhabiting their gaming avatar. Strangely, their appearance doesn't resemble the familiar character of Seven, further adding to the perplexity of the situation. In an unexpected turn of events, our hero finds himself standing outside a store called Icicle, catching the attention of a charming girl named Ice. This encounter surprises him since he recognizes her from the game but has never heard her speak like this before. As he ponders the situation, Ice's demeanor becomes even more endearing, speaking to him in a soft and sweet tone. This causes our hero to blush, assuming this is some incredible godly update in the game. Strangely, it feels like Ice can hear his thoughts, prompting her to act shyly and retreat into the store. Perplexed, our hero examines his reflection in the store's glass, only to see the face of another gaming avatar he'd created named Second. Regrettably, Second is merely a backup character with no significant progress, starting from scratch with 0 experience points. Feeling disheartened by the situation and seeing no purpose in continuing with this character, our hero decides to log out of the game. However, to his dismay, he discovers that he's unable to log out and begins to speculate whether this is a glitch within the gaming system. Soon, he comes to a startling realization that this isn't a fantasy or a glitch, but his new reality. In a moment of clarity, he recalls his final thoughts before taking his life on Earth, wishing to be born into the world of Maion. Astonishingly, it seems his final wish has been granted and he now exists as a real-life character within the realm of Maion. Testing the reality of his situation, he pinches his own cheek and feels the pain, confirming that he's indeed made of flesh and blood and not in a dream. This extraordinary turn of events leaves our hero grappling with the incredible realization that he's been reincarnated into the world of Maion, a world he once only experienced as a game. In a whirlwind of elation, Second jubilantly expresses gratitude to a higher power for his rebirth into this fantastical world. However, his joy is abruptly cut short when he's suddenly apprehended by a knight in shining armor. Confused by the sudden turn of events, Second is startled to see Ice accusing him of causing a disturbance outside her store, shattering his newfound happiness. Subsequently, he's escorted to the knight's station, still bewildered by the situation. As he faces questioning at the hands of the knight, Second realizes the arresting knight is actually a captivating woman. Despite his attempts to explain the misunderstanding and downplay his actions as mere excitement, he becomes intrigued by the knight's appearance. He discerns that she is unique to this world, unlike any characters from his previous gaming experiences, sparking hope for new adventures. However, his attempts to clarify his identity as an ordinary individual not from a noble family fall flat. The knight, belonging to the Third Chivalric Order, remains skeptical, disregarding his claims and threatening him with her sword. Second, feeling increasingly panicked by the dire situation, attempts to comply, only to realize that the trouble he's in is due to his attire, a fashion choice made out of boredom in the game, which now paints him in a suspicious light. Desperate to convince the knight of his innocence, Second finds himself in grave trouble as the knight's patience wears thin and she grows increasingly distrustful of his explanations. In the midst of escalating tension, the knight, identified as Sylvia, is revealed to often contend with the drama of her superiors, fostering her keen sense of justice. As the atmosphere grows increasingly strained, a superior knight intervenes, chastising Sylvia for her aggressive interrogation style. The superior knight, addressing her as Sylvia, apologizes for her behavior and proceeds to question Second, now revealed to be Sadhu, in a more respectful manner. Sadhu, introducing himself as Second and claiming to be 17 years old in this new form, privately discloses his true identity as Sadhu, a 28-year-old individual. Responding to the superior knight's inquiries, Sadhu is asked about his erratic behavior near the icicle store, which caused disturbance. Feeling embarrassed by his actions, Sadhu explains that he had zoned out and was unaware of his behavior. Despite skepticism from the superior knight, Sadhu convinces him that his actions were unintentional. Ultimately, Sadhu is released from further interrogation but is required to compensate for the damages to the icicle store. Fortunately, the amount he owes is relatively modest, prompting Sadhu to ponder how this society operates. To his surprise, he realizes he possesses over 2 billion in the local currency, along with armor valued around 300,000. Uncertain about the currency's value in this new world, Sadhu questions whether this wealth is substantial enough here. In this new, unfamiliar world that feels different from the Maion he knows, Second's immediate concern is addressing his hunger. He enters an inn intending to inquire about the cost of staying for a night. The receptionist, another charming girl, responds peculiarly upon hearing his request, resembling the reaction he received from Ice earlier. This similarity raises suspicions in Second's mind about the behavior of the girls in this place. Despite the receptionist's slightly evasive behavior, she discloses the surprisingly low nightly rate, leaving Second astonished. Recognizing the value of his expensive armor, Second decides to book 5 nights at the inn. During the transaction, there's a shy and somewhat intimate exchange between Second and the receptionist. While Second feels a peculiar emotional stir, he can't quite comprehend the reason behind it. Meanwhile, the receptionist blushes intensely, adding to his confusion. As Second later settles at the bar, he begins to realize that the attention and admiration he's receiving from the people around him are likely due to his expensive attire. His lavish clothes attract the gaze of the locals, especially the women, who seem intrigued by his ability to afford such luxurious items. Basking in the envy and admiration directed his way, Second adopts a confident posture, relishing the attention. He explains to us that his personal appearance might not matter much, but wearing noble attire ensures that everyone appreciates his presence. This newfound attention triggers Second to reflect on his past, recalling the individuals who had doubted or dismissed his passions and pursuits in his previous life. Second reflects on the past, remembering how he was often told that indulging in video games was a futile endeavor, with those around him urging him to focus on education and hard work. These individuals never showed interest in what captivated him. Instead, they aspired to conform to the societal race for success. Now, living a life where he attracts attention from attractive women and envious men due to his newfound status, Second feels a sense of vindication for staying true to his passions. He's grateful for not letting go of his interests despite societal pressures. Realizing that his knowledge of this new world could be an invaluable asset, Second understands the potential power he holds by being aware of the kingdom's deepest secrets. These thoughts and emotions swirling inside him cause a surge of excitement, eventually leading him to lose control and burst into uncontrollable laughter, feeling as though he's triumphed in life's game. Surprisingly, nobody reacts to his unexpected behavior, signaling that he won't face further repercussions. Empowered by this epiphany, Second sets a new ambitious goal for himself. Determined to replicate his success in Maion as the #1 player, he resolves to ascend to the pinnacle of this new world, just as he did when he was known as Seven in the gaming realm. The next morning, Second awakens with a pounding hangover, recalling his excessive indulgence in alcohol the previous night. Regretting his low alcohol tolerance, he resolves to be more mindful, acknowledging that in this new life, taking care of himself is essential. He acknowledges that unlike in a game, the consequences are real and he must be cautious to avoid such hangovers in the future. Realizing the gravity of his new life's goals, Second understands that to claim the top spot as the #1 player in Maion, acquiring crucial skills is imperative. Acknowledging the vast array of skills available, he emphasizes the necessity of acknowledging and mastering them. Second proceeds to explain the game's rules, beginning with the importance of gaining experience points. He highlights that accumulating these points is the primary method to enhance stats, achieved by defeating monsters or completing quests. Moreover, he delves into the intricate ranking system within skills, with the highest rank being the title skill. Despite the complexity of these thoughts swirling in his mind, Hunger Pangs reminds Second of his human needs. Deciding that sustenance takes priority, he heads to the bar to order curry and rice, seeking assistance from the cute receptionist to fulfill his immediate need for food. In this scene, our hero retrieves his character card and discovers that Second shares the same growth type as 7, signifying an all-around fighter capability. This means balanced growth but also implies a limitation, being proficient in various skills without excelling at any one specifically. However, undeterred by this realization, Second recalls how he attained the top position previously using the same approach and remains confident in this method. As Second reflects on his journey, he is interrupted when the reception girl serves him a meal of curry and rice. He emphasizes that the initial stages of his growth will be exceptionally challenging, prompting him to rely on a special method. The scene then shifts to a potion specialty store where Second goes shopping. He requests a wide array of special potions, insisting on purchasing the maximum number of bottles available for each. The sheer quantity surprises the shop owner, cautioning Second about the potential of running out of funds. Despite the warning, Second remains resolute, and when informed that there are over 600 bottles in stock, he calmly requests all of them. This shocks both the store owner and the assistant, who are astounded by Second's determination. Despite their surprise, they emphasize the high quality of these potions due to their remarkable abilities. The billionaire player effortlessly splurges on 630 bottles of a particular potion, worth an exorbitant sum in the local currency, without batting an eye. His capacity to pay in cash makes the purchase a breeze as he hoards them in his inventory. To everyone's surprise, he then proceeds to request the shop owner to prepare for an additional 9,000 bottles of the same potion. This strange buying spree prompts Second, a character in this scenario, to elucidate the reason behind the seemingly excessive acquisition. He explains that it's related to a gaming tactic named the DK tactic within the game Maion. This tactic serves as a cheat code to rapidly amass experience points, akin to a method known in an older game called Dinosaur Quest, where using fixed damage items against powerful enemies facilitated their defeat. Second imparts further wisdom by highlighting the multiple functionalities of these potions. They aid in recovery, dispelling effects, detoxification, and can be employed as effective tools against undead adversaries, such as zombies. Armed with these potions, our hero can engage in battle against zombies, accruing substantial experience points along the way. Additionally, these potions possess the ability to inflict fixed damage of over 1,000 points, enabling Second to vanquish intermediate-level monsters like the Viper Zombie, which yield generous amounts of experience points. Second calculates that he'll need to procure a minimum of 10,000 bottles of the potion to attain his desired experience points, which translates to a staggering expenditure exceeding 1 billion of the local currency. Typically, individuals with such immense wealth usually have a central character to support them in the game, yet Second lacks this advantage and is compelled to rely on exploiting the system for now. He acknowledges that this strategy holds relevance only in the initial stages of the game and will lose its effectiveness once he reaches an intermediate level. Despite his reluctance, Second purchases a new horse named Seventh Tayo and embarks on a journey. Faced with limited options, he travels 2 hours away from the royal capital to a cave renowned as a prime hunting ground. However, much to his disappointment, the cave turns out to be devoid of any creatures, a scenario contrary to his expectations. He speculates that perhaps the cheat code method remains undiscovered in this world, or the high cost of the potions dissuades others from attempting it. Nonetheless, since Second is the sole possessor of this knowledge, he seizes the opportunity to hunt freely, unencumbered by competition or opposition. After an extensive search, Second finally encounters the real-life versions of the Viper zombies he mentioned earlier. Observing their ghastly appearance, he remarks that they appear far more menacing in reality than they do in the game. Without hesitation, Second stealthily approaches one of the Viper zombies and launches one of the potions at it, successfully inflicting damage that leads to the monster's defeat. He adeptly dispatches all the Viper zombies within the cave, feeling a sense of accomplishment. His strategy involves moving on to other hunting grounds to confront more monsters before returning to this particular location as the Viper zombies regenerate, allowing him to continuously gain experience. With 630 potions currently at his disposal, Second believes it's sufficient to amass a considerable amount of experience. He plans to persist with this method until the shop owner restocks on more potions, enabling him to further enhance his skill rank. As dusk descends, signaling the end of leisure time, Second decides it's time to head back to town. He mounts his horse and rides back to the royal capital, intending to indulge in a satisfying meal, perhaps some drinks, a refreshing bath, and then a good night's rest. However, his plans are disrupted when he encounters Sylvia, who aggressively points at him, seemingly seeking trouble. Despite Second's lack of interest in engaging in conversation, Sylvia initiates a chat with him anyway, recalling him as the person she had questioned earlier. She queries why he's out so late at night, her eyes filled with suspicion, prompting Second to realize he's under scrutiny once more. He explains he was at the mines to accumulate experience points, but this only intensifies Sylvia's skepticism. She finds it unbelievable that Second would venture into a perilous place just to battle monsters. To her surprise, Second further astonishes her by claiming he was there because the zombie vipers were appetizing, a statement that only amplifies Sylvia's disbelief. She adopts a condescending tone, teasing Second's intelligence, a gesture that irritates our hero. Despite finding Sylvia somewhat endearing, he also considers her immensely vexing. Curious about Sylvia's perception of mine areas as dangerous, Second shifts the conversation towards the 21 dungeons in Maion, referred to as the 21 paradises, where players would collaborate and employ various strategies to navigate through these challenging dungeons. Sylvia, however, disputes the count, asserting that there are only 19 dungeons, leaving Second puzzled by her conflicting information. Understanding the situation, Second inquires about the number of dungeons currently being raided. Sylvia responds, stating that 13 dungeons are presently undergoing exploration. This information triggers a realization in Second, prompting him to swiftly depart. In this world, individuals are apprehensive about risking their lives in these dungeons because there's only one chance. It's not akin to a game where you can respawn at a checkpoint after being defeated. Here, a single defeat means the end. Fortunately, Second possesses an abundance of knowledge that could suffice for tens of thousands of lives. This realization diminishes the perceived difficulty of achieving his goal of reaching the number 1 position, a task that previously seemed much tougher than it actually is in light of his advantageous position. The following morning, Second heads to the Grand Royal Library, a significant milestone for him as gaining enough experience has granted him access. In Maion, accessing this library is crucial because reading books contributes to skill building, especially with specific skill books unavailable elsewhere in the kingdom. As he delves into this treasure trove of knowledge, another charming girl suddenly approaches Second, offering her assistance. Despite momentarily battling intrusive thoughts, Second redirects his focus to the skill books. In this gaming world, merely flipping through the pages of a book qualifies as reading, allowing Second to cover a significant amount of material in a short time. His primary objective is to acquire expertise in swordsmanship and archery. However, mastering elemental skills becomes equally imperative to perfect these fundamental abilities. Recognizing the complexity of the matter, Second concentrates on acquiring these skills rather than providing detailed explanations. He pursues spear and pawn moves for swordsmanship and archery, swiftly mastering these techniques within moments. His attention then shifts to sorcery, targeting the 4 key elemental skills: earth, wind, fire, and water. As Second peruses the library, he notices that the grimoires align with what he remembers from the game. This realization means he can access additional grimoires either by visiting the Royal School of Magic or by completing high-difficulty quests. Amid his exploration, Second manages to acquire a plethora of skills, finding the process surprisingly easy. However, his focus is abruptly interrupted when the librarian, a charming individual, accidentally drops a book and bends down to retrieve it. Although she appears unfazed, Second finds himself struggling to maintain composure as he glimpses more than he bargained for. Aware that there's no time to be distracted by such encounters, he promptly redirects his attention back to his training regimen. Starting with archery and swordsmanship, he diligently progresses through his training routine, moving on to sorcery and conjuration to round off his exercises. Amid his training sessions, he stumbles upon a special limited offer called the Premium Spirit Ticket, which was part of the unique avatar our hero had purchased for Second. This ticket allows the summoning of a rare spirit to aid in missions, an enticing proposition. However, Second weighs the options, recognizing that while it's a tempting offer, relying on such a spirit might not be the most optimal strategy for a beginner in battles. Second recognizes that to control a rare spirit effectively, he needs a certain level of proficiency in the skills he's currently honing. Hence, he decides to take it easy for the time being and reserves the use of this trump card for a more opportune moment. With his plan unfolding smoothly, Second proceeds to purchase weapons, intending to allocate his experience points evenly across his various skills. He meticulously selects his weapons, aiming to enhance his characters through a detailed and elaborate process. However, in his ambitious pursuit, Second exhausts all his experience points, resulting in incomplete progress toward his goal. Nonetheless, this setback doesn't deter him as he acknowledges the option to return to the library for a quick recharge of his experience points. With the weapons acquisition settled, Second shifts his focus to intensifying his archery training. Presented with a comprehensive list of archery options, each move boasting its own advantages, Second doesn't settle for mastery in just one or two techniques. He aspires to excel in all aspects, driving himself to delve into spear and pawn archery skills. Fortunately, the learning process unfolds smoothly for him and his stats steadily increase at a desirable pace. Second's progress continues to flourish as he not only hones his skills through dedicated training but also invests in the necessary items to maximize their effectiveness. Equipping himself with an array of premium weapons including bows, arrows, spears, and more, Second feels increasingly empowered. Despite his advancements, he deems it unnecessary to engage in actual quests at this point in time. Pushing the boundaries of what seems achievable, Second accomplishes seemingly impossible feats. He dispatches monsters while mounted on a horse, showcasing extraordinary prowess by vanquishing 20 of them with a single blow. His success becomes even more remarkable as he meticulously factors in elements like distance and timing while executing these remarkable feats. While everything seems to be going well, Second senses that the ultimate challenge lies ahead. He believes he's now ready to pursue castle archery, known as the most formidable challenge. This requires an amplified strike skill where a single strike's impact can be as potent as a 600% amplification. However, obtaining this skill involves undertaking the most arduous tasks yet, such as defeating 1,000 monsters or landing 500 critical hits. These challenges stand as formidable obstacles on his path to acquire this highly sought-after skill. Second is confident in his abilities, yet one task unnerves him, the toughest challenge of all. He must eliminate 3 monsters consecutively that have attacked and drained at least 50% of another player's HP. Moreover, he must execute this feat while standing at least 5 meters away and utilizing a very specific combo move. The mere contemplation of achieving this task induces anxiety in Second even as he sits down to eat his lunch. Adding to the pressure is the understanding that a single mistake means starting the entire process from scratch. Complicating matters further is the fact that, unlike in a game, Second can't request other players to let their HP be drained for the task. In this real-world scenario, allowing such a depletion of HP poses a genuine risk to one's life. It's a challenging decision for Second, torn between the desire to acquire the castle archery skill, which would significantly aid him in his main mission, and the potential dangers associated with completing this task. After thorough contemplation, Second resolves to take on the challenge. However, he knows he must patiently wait for the opportune moment to arise. Surprisingly, fate intervenes sooner than expected, presenting him with an unexpected opportunity to confront this daunting task. As a week passes since Second's reincarnation into this fantasy world, he has leveraged his cheat codes to achieve the seemingly impossible, elevating his skills significantly. As he contemplates advancing his sword skills, a distressing sound pierces the air, an agonizing scream. Rushing toward the source, Second discovers a group of knights in dire straits, with one attempting to pave an escape route for the team. Stealthily observing from the cover of bushes, he witnesses scarlet mantises viciously attacking the knights. 5 of the knights lie motionless on the ground, near death, while the other 5 form a defensive circle with their swords drawn, preparing to face the onslaught of the insect monsters. This situation, something unfamiliar even in the Maion game, presents a dire scenario. Second's mind whirls with thoughts as he recognizes this moment as a significant opportunity. He could defeat these monsters and potentially gain the crucial castle archery skill he so desperately needs. However, hesitation grips Second. He's unsure whether the knights have been brought down to 50% HP, a critical requirement for the skill task. Faced with the uncertainty, he refrains from taking action, reluctant to risk the knights' safety without confirming their HP status. In this situation, there's a problem with the approach being used. The knights on the ground aren't just characters in a game but real people. Second feels troubled because he doesn't want to see them suffer just to improve his in-game stats. He feels guilty for even considering this thought. These individuals are like him, but the stakes are higher for them. They could lose everything they've worked for. Despite this dilemma, Second decides he can't just stand by and do nothing. He takes action by grabbing his bow and instructing the knights to take cover. Then, using an advanced archery move he learned in the 5th grade, Second skillfully defeats all the scarlet mantises with a single shot. This amazing feat astonishes the knights, and second proudly showcases his heroic abilities with a confident pose. When the helmet is lifted, revealing one of the knights to be Sylvia, she finds herself captivated by her rescuer. Second's selfless and heroic act, risking his life without hesitation, challenges Sylvia's initial perception of him. She had originally seen him as a privileged and immature individual unaware of the harsh realities of life. However, witnessing Second's extraordinary archery skill as he effortlessly defeats 6 scarlet mantises leaves her in awe. It prompts her to ponder how much dedication and training Second must have undergone to accomplish such a remarkable feat. Second's display of heroism triggers a reflection in Sylvia, transporting her back to her own challenging past. Despite continually proving her prowess as a capable fighter, she faced ridicule for her perceived weakness. Even after securing a position as a knight, she found herself relegated to the lowest ranks and treated with indifference. These thoughts lead Sylvia into a profound and philosophical contemplation. Her desire to prove her strength to her peers has always driven her, yet the inequality in treatment based on social status becomes increasingly apparent. Returning home after the rescue, Sylvia delves into introspection about the kingdom's power disparities. She observes the disdain directed at people like her, while noble individuals receive reverence and honor without question. This stark contrast fuels her frustration, igniting a sense of injustice within her. Sylvia's inner turmoil leads her to question whether her journey as a knight has truly fulfilled her aspirations. Sylvia grapples with conflicting thoughts about the guild's interest in recruiting Second due to his noble appearance and his recent act of saving her life. She finds herself uncertain about whether it's morally right to involve him in the guild's affairs despite his heroic actions. Later, a superior knight approaches Second, inquiring about his intentions regarding joining the Adventurers Guild. Perplexed by this unexpected question, Second had hoped for a simple word of gratitude for his bravery. However, the superior knight persistently tries to entice Second into joining, highlighting the benefits. Nevertheless, Second dismisses the offer, stating he lacks any motivation to do so. He reveals a deep understanding of the guild's operations, acknowledging its significant power in handling monster invasions but also exposing its corrupt nature. Second's awareness of the guild's corrupt practices stems from the narrative he learned while playing the game previously, granting him insight into the darker side of this world. Declaring his disinterest in wealth and refusing to be tied down by an organization, Second adamantly rejects the guild's offer. However, the superior knight persists, emphasizing how influential and affluent members of the guild have taken a liking to Second, especially after witnessing his recent rescue mission. Our hero Second sees through the guild's attempt to lure him in by insinuating they'll protect him if he joins. Aware that it's a deceptive tactic, he remains resolute in his decision not to join any groups, preferring to navigate this world solo. He openly declares his aspiration to become the top player in this realm. However, the situation takes an unexpected turn when the superior knight reveals that Sylvia will now be tasked with shadowing Second to monitor his actions closely. This news is a nightmare for Second as he knows Sylvia can be quite troublesome. Although the superior knight tries to present it as a cooperative arrangement and asks for Second's opinion about Sylvia accompanying him, it doesn't make sense to Second initially. Yet, he starts to deduce the underlying motives behind this decision. Realizing that Sylvia holds anti-noble sentiments and opposes the ways of the chivalric order, Second begins to suspect the knight's true intentions. He concludes that they might be attempting to sideline Sylvia by assigning her to follow him around. Surprisingly, this situation turns out to be advantageous for Second. He views it as a favorable deal because, in his perspective, he gains the company of a cute female knight without the worry of her reporting his actions to her superiors. The situation takes an abrupt turn when Second questions the superior knight about the duration of Sylvia's assignment with him, only for Sylvia herself to be summoned into the room. She's instructed to serve as Second's escort, and both are granted an exemption from the chivalric order. The superior knight asserts his authority over Sylvia, making it clear that he holds the power to determine her tasks with a mere command. Second discerns from these interactions that Sylvia isn't well liked within the chivalric order. Observing Sylvia's innocent demeanor and attractive physique, Second's thoughts start to wander in an inappropriate direction. He struggles to regain control of his intrusive thoughts and eventually proposes a 2-year arrangement with Sylvia. He believes this time frame will suffice for him to achieve the top ranking in the world. Surprisingly, the superior knight swiftly agrees, effectively demoting Sylvia to the role of Second's escort. Following this unexpected turn of events, the new pair spends some time at a bar. Sylvia, however, finds herself consumed by memories of her family's disparaging treatment due to her lack of sword fighting skills. Meanwhile, Second has different intentions and offers Sylvia a proposition. He acknowledges the possibility that the superior knight might have ordered her to seduce him, but Sylvia remains noncommittal in her response, opting to hear Second out before making any decisions. It appears that the deal proposed by Second was going to significantly impact Sylvia's life in unforeseen ways. Second, acknowledging Sylvia's desire to remain a knight, expresses his intention to assist her in achieving that goal. Sylvia, perhaps influenced by the drinks she's had, starts to gaze at Second in a dreamy manner. Second proceeds to suggest a radical idea that Sylvia leave the chivalric order and accompany him. This shocking proposal prompts Sylvia to let out a loud scream, startled by the unexpectedness of the suggestion. Sensing her reaction, Second assures her that this proposition is part of their arrangement, aiming to calm her down. Sylvia regains composure and agrees to hear the rest of Second's proposition. Second emphasizes that he can aid Sylvia in reaching her aspirations provided she complies with his requests. Sylvia expresses her frustration about her inability to carry out acts of justice due to her lack of sword skills. Second, somewhat awkwardly, suggests that she should consider alternative weapons like a spear or a bow. This suggestion initially incites anger in Sylvia, but then she begins to realize that Second's advice is based on reason and she acknowledges her own stubbornness in the situation. In a heartfelt moment, Sylvia opens up about feeling like a failed knight due to her perceived lack of skills, becoming visibly emotional with tears streaming down her cheeks. Second tries to console her, emphasizing that what truly matters is the pursuit of justice, regardless of the weapon used to achieve it. His words resonate with Sylvia, especially as she recalls Second's impressive skills displayed during the battle against the mantis monsters. Second's philosophy starts to make sense to her, leading her to promptly agree to go out with him, much to Second's satisfaction. Now feeling a deeper connection, Second shares his ambitious dream with Sylvia, explaining his goal of becoming the world's top player. Although Sylvia doesn't fully grasp his intentions and finds them somewhat absurd, she admires his passion and determination. Sylvia finds herself drawn to Second's fervor, inspiring her to also strive for her own goals and pledge her assistance to Second in achieving his aspirations. However, despite Sylvia's genuine desire to help and her optimistic outlook on this opportunity, there's a sense of uncertainty surrounding Second's intentions, hinting at a possible dubious agenda. It seems that Second is indulging in a fit of maniacal laughter as he sits by his bed, convinced that his plan has unfolded perfectly. He believes he orchestrated everything from getting Sylvia intoxicated to making her fall for his persuasive words. Despite the role alcohol might have played, he disregards its significance for the moment. The receptionist downstairs can hear his unsettling laughter, but Second pays no heed, consumed by thoughts of utilizing Sylvia in his schemes. For Second, Sylvia's allegiance after leaving the chivalric order holds immense importance. However, he's uncertain about her skills since they don't seem to lie in swordsmanship. He speculates about her potential talents in archery, sorcery, or production abilities, but he dismisses the latter as not immediately useful for his plans. Second's ego swells as he ponders the seemingly perfect alignment of events, attributing it to his past gaming experience and considering it a stroke of luck. His excitement peaks as he finally learns the coveted castle archery skill, a goal he'd been pursuing. Exhausted from the day's events, Second lies down, contemplating Sylvia's future training while also strategizing how to accumulate more experience points for himself. Amidst these thoughts, his sinister laughter continues, echoing downstairs and prompting the receptionist to wonder if Second has lost his sanity. On the following day, Second proposes the idea of Sylvia exploring the realm of magic archery, which catches her off guard. Secretly, Second desires a comrade proficient in both sorcery and archery, but he conceals this motive from Sylvia. Analyzing her stats, Second believes Sylvia possesses the potential to excel as a magic archer. However, Sylvia's lack of knowledge about this specialization surprises Second, as magic archers were prevalent in the Maion game he once played. This revelation indicates to Second that introducing Sylvia to this role will be a significant task. Despite Sylvia's uncertainty, Second insists that the role of a magic archer does indeed exist, and he encourages her to train for it. He suggests visiting the library to acquire the essential skills through reading. Additionally, Second plans to head to the forest to train against monsters, intending for Sylvia to join him. However, Sylvia appears confused and doesn't fully grasp Second's plan. Recognizing her lack of understanding, Second realizes he'll need to guide Sylvia from the basics, treating her as a beginner. His encouraging words cause Sylvia to blush, and witnessing this reaction unexpectedly stirs emotions in Second, making him feel somewhat sentimental. As the training progresses, Second shares with Sylvia the closely guarded secrets of powerful archery and sorcery skills, leaving her utterly astonished. Such exclusive knowledge was previously reserved only for the most influential nobles in her society. Second advises her not to dwell too much on the secrecy, but inwardly speculates that this world differs from the game due to the nobles hoarding such information, possibly leading to the kingdom's low overall combat levels. Sylvia starts to panic, realizing the danger of exposing herself by using these forbidden skills in public. Her anxious expression prompts Second to reassure her that she should avoid showcasing her newfound abilities openly. Sylvia, feeling relieved, agrees to play along with this precautionary measure. Despite her initial panic, Sylvia excels in mastering a variety of skills during the training, mirroring Second's aptitude for learning. However, she becomes overly excited and vocal about each new ability she acquires, seemingly overwhelmed by the day's revelations. Second, noticing her exuberance, assures her that the day isn't over yet. In an unexpected turn, Second gives Sylvia one of his expensive potions, shocking her even further. She misunderstands his intentions, fearing he might ask her to use the potion in a lewd manner. Second quickly clarifies that his intentions are not as inappropriate as she imagines. He plans to teach Sylvia a tactic called the cheat code, but she doesn't know what it involves. As they move forward, they notice bats lurking in the shadows. Second then offers to teach Sylvia castle archery, but she's uncertain about the process. Despite her curiosity, she's not clear on how to improve her skills in it. Our hero decides to head to a dungeon called Royce. This dungeon is of intermediate difficulty, a second-ranked dungeon, as there are higher-ranked ones, but he prefers a gradual approach. Sylvia is puzzled about why they're going to an advanced-level dungeon, prompting Second to explain the benefits of conquering it. The boss of Royce is a powerful creature known as the Flame Wolf, which drops a unique weapon called the Flame Wolf Bow. It's larger than standard bows and possesses fiery abilities, something Second is eager to acquire. Moreover, the main objective is to assist Sylvia in mastering castle archery, since the monsters in this dungeon are ideal for practicing that skill. The primary goals here are skill enhancement and obtaining rare items. Sylvia encounters many flame wolves, causing her to panic. However, Second stays composed, encouraging her to apply what she's learned previously. Drawing on her skills, Sylvia initiates her attack, easily defeating one of the creatures. Suddenly, she feels an immense surge of power. Her abilities have now elevated to grade 1. This significant improvement is largely attributed to the cheat code method employed by Second. Proudly fulfilling his promise, Second informs Sylvia of his success, and she gratefully smiles at him. Sylvia's display of gratitude surprises Second, as he's accustomed to her other demeanor. As they progress through the Royce dungeon, Sylvia continues to grow stronger, aided by the cheat code technique. She consistently expresses her thanks to Second for being a reliable mentor, and even he is pleased to see her evolve into a capable companion. Witnessing her rapid growth and boosted confidence, Second is taken aback by how swiftly Sylvia's self-assurance is developing. Her advancing skills motivate Sylvia to aspire to become a magic archer, a transformation that surprises and impresses Second, who hadn't anticipated her confidence to flourish so quickly. As they reach the final stage of the dungeon, Sylvia needs to meet the same conditions Second did when he rescued her team to learn castle archery. Suddenly, they confront a boss-level monster, a flaming troll, and Second readies himself and Sylvia for the encounter. The flaming troll serves as the perfect practice target for Sylvia's castle archery, possessing immense power but also having a vulnerable spot, its shiny cranium. Despite encountering numerous flaming trolls ahead, Sylvia seeks cover behind a pillar. At this moment, Second believes it's the ideal opportunity to officially certify Sylvia as a castle archer. He instructs her to only shoot at the monster's shiny head when he signals, but Sylvia is curious about Second's plan. It becomes evident that Second intends to lower his own health to 50% to allow Sylvia to meet the necessary conditions. However, he doesn't disclose this to her just yet. Instead, he advises Sylvia to remain composed regardless of what unfolds in front of her. As Second evaluates his HP stats, he realizes he can endure up to 3 critical hits from the flame trolls. Despite feeling extremely scared and uncomfortable, he understands the necessity of sacrificing his health to solidify Sylvia's trust and partnership. Stepping forward, he braces himself for the impending attack as the monster readies itself. With a sense of pride, Second withstands the first blow but encounters unexpected problems. The damage inflicted is minimal, barely denting even a quarter of his HP. Additionally, he faces an issue. The attack has nearly cost him his teeth. While in a gaming scenario, this could be easily resolved, in reality, his teeth might be lost permanently. Sylvia's terrified scream for her mentor's safety serves as a powerful motivation for Second, compelling him to confront the monster despite feeling uncertain about the decision. Though the sight of the flaming troll rattles him, Second refuses to show any hint of fear to his apprentice. Reminding himself of his status as the #1 player in the world, he attempts to reassure himself that he can overcome this challenge with the right effort. This mantra spirals into a frenzy, leading him to repeatedly chant that he is #1, attempting to calm his nerves. However, the monster remains indifferent to his affirmations and prepares for another attack, landing a clean hit that sends Second crashing against the wall, worsening his condition. Things start to look dire for him in this intense encounter. As Second checks his HP and notices it has dropped below 50%, he realizes he's completed his task. Relieved, he signals Sylvia to execute the finishing move and she effortlessly takes down the flaming troll with a single shot. While it's a triumphant moment for her, their task isn't over. 2 more trolls remain. Despite enduring the ordeal and surviving, Sylvia expresses discomfort with Second taking the hits for her, repeatedly calling him a fool, albeit with a hint of nervousness in her eyes. After enduring considerable hardship, Sylvia's perseverance pays off as she successfully masters castle archery, a significant achievement for any aspiring knight. Overwhelmed with excitement and gratitude, she credits Second for turning her aspirations into reality. Hearing her praise, Second feels a sense of fulfillment, despite enduring immense pain to assist her. Confident that he'll have just as much enjoyment in this world with a spare character as he did with Seven, Second attributes this newfound enjoyment to Sylvia's influence and impact on him. Her success and gratitude make everything worthwhile for him despite the pain and sacrifice he endured. With the major training completed, the duo gears up to face the big boss, the Flame Wolf. Covered in flames, this creature is highly resistant to most forms of attack, earning its reputation as a significant challenge among Maion players. Fortunately, Second possesses a strategy to deal with this formidable foe, stunlocking. However, when he explains this tactic to Sylvia, she struggles to comprehend its mechanics. Stunlocking involves continuously attacking and repelling the flame wolf from both ends, effectively reducing its powerful status to that of a harmless puppy. Second includes Sylvia in this strategy, teaching her the maneuver known as the ultimate gold bishop stun, the name he finds impressive despite Sylvia's confusion about his enthusiasm. Despite her lack of understanding, Sylvia agrees to follow Second's lead because it seems like a safe option. Their coordinated efforts quickly lead to victory as they easily defeat the Flame Wolf, marking a significant accomplishment, especially with Sylvia mastering castle archery. However, despite their success, Second remains determined to obtain the Flame Wolf bow, indicating that their journey isn't over yet and they'll need to continue their efforts to secure this rare item. After 3 weeks of battling numerous flame wolves, the desired flame wolf bow finally drops, much to Sylvia's jubilation. She celebrates her master's accomplishment, only to be surprised when Second reveals that he never intended to use the bow himself. His goal all along was for Sylvia to obtain it. Confused, Sylvia learns that Second plans to transition to sorcery, making the use of the bow irrelevant to him. He believes that since Sylvia is aspiring to become a magic archer, she should be the one to wield the bow. Expressing gratitude to her master, Sylvia thanks him, unaware that Second hasn't yet realized her feelings for him. Their conversation becomes a bit awkward before they decide to leave the dungeon and focus on their next mission. Second expresses his desire to utilize Sylvia's connections to the Royal Academy of Magic, as she comes from the Virginia family, known for their influential connections. Although Sylvia doesn't explicitly confirm anything, Second aims to acquire a grimoire, an elusive item only found within the Academy's confines. Since the institution strictly limits entry to students and teachers, Second believes using Sylvia's connections would be the easiest way to access the grimoire. Enrolling in such a stringent school might take considerable time, and leveraging Sylvia's ties seems the most practical approach for his objective. From the events described, it seems there might be more to Noir's behavior than meets the eye. When Second proposes a plan to target Sylvia's father to gain access to the Royal Academy, Sylvia reveals her strained relationship with Noir, who had disowned her due to her lack of skills. Sylvia's emotional recounting doesn't affect Second, as he believes she won't be of much help and decides to target Noir instead. Second executes a deception tactic, dressing up as a foreign nobleman to trick Noir. Surprisingly, Noir immediately bows down to Second, which confuses Sylvia. Despite this, Second continues with the act, persuading Noir to write a transfer letter for him to the Royal Academy. He secures a 2-week deal as a foreign exchange student and then requests Sylvia's company, insisting that he specifically wants her assistance. Noir seems to agree to everything despite his doubts about Sylvia's abilities to assist someone of Second's status. There's a sense of oddity in Noir's behavior, hinting at possible hidden intentions. Second expresses gratitude for Noir's support, indicating that he'll remember the Virginia family's help. The situation raises questions about Noir's sudden compliance and overly accommodating behavior. His actions might suggest he's hiding ulterior motives or concealing something from our heroes. Noir's agreeable behavior, despite his doubts about Sylvia's abilities, could indicate a hidden agenda or deeper intentions behind his actions. Like, share, and subscribe to find out in the next video. Hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload part 2. See you in the next one.